Hello and welcome to another iMoot 15 session. For this session, we have Jonathan Tan, currently in Cleveland, Ohio. Jonathan's going to be talking about the importance of student engagement in an online learning environment, uses learning management system. I got emailing with Jonathan back in February. Jonathan inquired about the iMoot and, what is it, where is it? And in the email conversations, he mentioned that he was actually using it as a student, as a teacher, and as an administrator as well. So I kind of felt that was an ideal opportunity to kind of jump on that and could cajole him into presenting something for us at the iMoot. So I hope you all enjoy Jonathan's session today. And thank you very much, Jonathan, for presenting.
All right, thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, just type a yes on the chat room. Just want to make sure everybody can hear me clear. If not, please let me know. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start with my session. Just want to save time for questions later. And my sessions, you will find that anyway, I see that Tabitha, she's in the room. She was in my session last night when I was presenting. My sessions or my presentations, it's a little bit different, or I'm trying to be a little bit different, where since I'm talking about the student engagement, I'm trying to engage my audience here, and by saying that I need your help to actually help me to type in your responses into the chat room whenever you can, or whenever you have an idea you wanted to share, and or after I ask the questions, please feel free to add in some ideas or suggestions or your opinions over my questions. That will be very appreciated. And also, I mentioned in my first sessions that please don't treat me like your teachers or presenters, or just treat me like your peers, so we can learn from each other. And I'm not here to preach anything, but I'm here to share what I found from my research and from other people's research, and that I think will be pretty helpful for us who are using the learning management systems. Primarily for those that who using Moodle, of course. But if you ever using any other learning management systems, that will be relevant too. So let's move on to the next slide. A little bit about myself. Vinny already talked a little bit about me, and I told him that actually I'm originally from the West Peninsula of Malaysia. Back in 2008, I came to the United States to finish my undergrad degree. And now I'm here in Cleveland, Ohio, working for the Notre Dame College as an e-learning coordinator. Notre Dame College is a Catholic-based college. They are currently using Moodle as their primary learning management systems for mostly their online students and also on-campus students. And at the same time, I'm also pursuing my PhD in educational technology at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And back in 2009, late 2009, I was fortunate enough to attend it, or to take this class with Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario is very famous with his first principles of instruction. If you ever have the time, you can go back and research or type in first principle of instructions. He's one of the pioneer about that philosophy or theory. I was fortunate enough to be included in his latest version of the book back in 2012. Part of my final project was included in his book. Anyway, and then later on, when I was pursuing my master's degree at UNLV, I also had a chance to work with Dr. Hartley. He had a few articles that he presented in different conferences. One of the article, Unconstrained Learning Environments, I was fortunate to work with him and another person, and he presented at the World Conference on Educational Media and Technology. So that's a little bit about me. So anyway, before I move on to the next slide, if all of you can type in where are you coming from, that can really help me and everybody in the room to get to know each other a little bit better. Just type in, where are you coming from? I mean, then I will move on to the next slides while you're typing it. Oh, Celine, you're from France. Joshua, North Carolina, US. Cool. Andy, British, but not based in Germany. Okay. Paula, Colorado, US. Cool. Okay. Beta, Tennessee. Cool. All right. So today I'm gonna do a little bit different than I actually added 3 questions. Oh, Vinny, of course you're from Malaysia. So I added 3 questions that I actually posted into my forum. Unfortunately, there weren't anybody noticed about. I posted 3 questions that I'm trying to research on those questions for my research later, but unfortunately, I didn't receive any response. So I thought I added into my slides today, and we can all ponder over the questions, and you can help me with my research, and that will be really great. So let's have our first discussion questions. The first discussion questions is, are the current features and functionality that are available on Moodle helping to increase student engagement? What do you think? I mean, just ponder a little bit and then type into the chat room if you can. And then we can discuss a little bit. Then we're gonna move on to the next slide. So, do you think the current features and functionality? We're talking about any version that you are currently using. I don't care if it's 2.6, 2.7, or 2.8, or even the latest, the 2.9 version. What do you think? If it is, if it is helping to increase the student engagement, what exactly? Can you specify like 1 or 2 features or functionality that you think that really help to increase the student engagement so far? Okay, Paula say yes, if used to do so. Okay, Celine, interactive features, forums, instant messaging, cool. Joshua, the most important thing I have seen for increasing engagement is not in core progress bar, but good forum design and usage is really engaging. That's true. And Celine, I have a question for you since you mentioned the instant messaging. So when you say instant messaging interactive features, do you yourself using it? If you use it, what do you use it for? Are you using it for just one of the weekly chatting sessions or weekly office hour sessions to help your students to answer the questions, or it's part of the help me to understand that if you can. Joshua, yeah, a lot of motivated students really just want to do their thing. Okay, that's true. Okay. Andy, I think it helps weaker students. I'm not sure if it helps motivated students so much. Yes, I agree with you, Andy. Well, overall, we all know that, whether or not you are in a face-to-face or brick-and-mortar environment, or you are in an online learning environment, we are facing an increasing number of diverse students from different backgrounds, cultures, societies, and even from different countries. So each students are different. Each learner are different. So some are motivated than another. So of course, features and functionalities are meant to serve different types of the groups of students, isn't it? So Lane, say students from different countries use it to exchange and create content. Cool. Also for pair work. Okay, cool. I like that. I mean, we have very good responses from different people in the chat room right now. I really like that. Please keep on typing in your your opinions or your suggestions or ideas, or to answer those questions. So let's move on to the next slide. You can continue to type in any questions or any suggestions in the chat room, please. So engagement. So what is really engagement means to you? What about student engagement? Is that different than engagement alone in general? How do we define student engagement if we're talking about student engagement in an online learning environment? Not in a face-to-face learning environment, but online learning environment. What does that mean to you? You want to try to define yourself? Is there any difference between the two? So think about that, ponder about that. We can come back to these questions because we're going to surround these questions quite a lot throughout the sessions. I want you to ponder about it, and then please give me some feedback on this while I'm moving on to the next slide. So I actually found a few definitions. Well, there are tons of definitions about engagement in general, honestly. And then one of them, like I say in the slides, the definition of engagement can be very subjective. I mean, you might have your own definitions of the engagement in general, but I have mine also. But is that really a true definite definition of the engagement? Not necessarily. It depends on what do you define engagement in what environment and what situations or things like that. Okay, Paula. Online engagement is harder to measure than face-to-face because you can't see their faces and body language. True. I agree with that, but on the other hand, technology does creates a lot of what do you call impossible things that or they make a lot of impossible things before and make it possible today. What I mean is, today you have web conferencing. By the way, the reason why I try not to use the webcam is I'm using a cable here. I'm sure my connection is pretty stable, but I just don't want to drop, because even yesterday when I used the sessions without the webcams, I actually dropped one time. I just want to make sure it didn't drop. But of course, I'm sure some users or some audience like to see the presenter's face. But I think here I'm trying to focus on the content here. Of course, if we have the chance later, definitely we can we can have some web sessions later. But right now I'm just trying to make sure that my connections is stable. Anyway, so then let's go back to the slide very, very quick. According to Audra, she is a student from Texas A&M University. So to her, engagement means active involvement, and signs of engagement include eye contact, listening, being alert. That sounds reasonable. Sounds right. Stover and other scholars suggest that engagement is defined by a combination of students' time on task and their willingness to participate in activities. So I think it also depends on, let's say if you're an instructor, I mean, like yesterday, somebody was talking about, I think it was Tabitha, was talking about, depends on the learning outcomes of the course or the subject matters that you are teaching, when we talk about student engagement. And then the next scholar, this is my favorite scholar. He's very famous with the student engagement. He's actually from Australia. He asserts that student engagement is concerned with the point of intersections between individuals and things that are critical for their learning. All right, let's look at the chat room if there's any questions. Okay. And they say, as a presenter, the lack of feedback sound can be really disconcerting. True, I like that. After we look at a few definitions of the engagements, I hope by now you have an idea, a general idea about what people generally think about engagement is. And Andy, you said, I believe the definition could take account of the students' willingness to improve and the steps taken, but how to measure that. That's interesting. That's something that I'm going to talk a little bit more about later. You can help me with that as we move on to the next slides. So what about student engagement? So further, we talk about, earlier we talked about engagement in general. Now, let's talk a little bit more about student engagement. George Cole's definitions illustrates this complexity about student engagement. The engagement premise is straightforward and easily understood. The more students study a subject, the more they know about it. And the more students practice and get feedback from faculty and staff members on their writing and collaborative problem solving, the deeper they come to understand what they are learning and the more adept they become at managing complexity, tolerating ambiguity, and working with people from different backgrounds or with different views. What do you think about his definitions about the student engagement? Do you think that's a good definition, or is that convince you as that's what student engagement means? I think that covers pretty much every bit of it, but then still, like I say, it can be very subjective. I agree with the definition here, but it may not necessarily explain for each subject or each different areas of the study. Anyway, let's move on to the next questions I would like to ask all of you. Please help me with that. Is Moodle enabling students to develop more virtual forms of presence in and interactions with their learning communities, whether or not it's in colleges or universities, or maybe if you have experience in the organizations or corporations, you wanted to comment on that it's using Moodle. Please ponder about these questions and type it in your response into the chat room and we can discuss together a little bit. So is Moodle enabling students to develop more virtual forms of presence in and interaction with their learning communities? What do you think? I'm going to go back to Andy. Andy, earlier, well, this is from the earlier post that you say, I believe the definition could take account. Okay, well, we already talked about that. Sorry. Joshua, if it's used well. Sorry, I have a dog barking. So I hope you guys don't mind. Anyway, so Paula, you said the possibility is there. The courses need to be designed toward that end, though. So yeah, I agree with you, Paula. The possibility is there. Yes. And then Joshua, you say it's not automatic for sure. So Yeah, it's quite true. It depends. So, Mary, I think students are already virtual in their interaction. The challenge is to get learners from one organization to do so. And Joshua, you said I spent my first few years with Moodle not doing a very good job of this at all. Okay. Andy, you said Moodle could certainly help in that direction. Yes. I agree with you. It's sometimes we just need to spend um, more time to figure out ourselves with as far as the learning management systems goes. Um, so, Winnie, you say, I wonder how much they interact with their learning communities in Moodle versus other ways, such as Facebook. Yeah, I agree with you, Vinny. So let's see. So Joshua was asking, is it about the students? All right. So looks like this questions has stirred up a quite an interesting conversations here. So Joshua, yes, it's mostly external. Vinny, you answered that students probably interact more with each other on Facebook than Moodle. Yes, in fact, let me share a little bit about this conversation here. I thought it's quite interesting. So lately, I'm not sure how many of you have found another learning. They're not new, but they are American-based learning management systems company. It's called Schoology. If you have the time to Google it later, it's called Schoology. They first started with the K-12, but I talked to one of the salesmen a couple weeks ago. They told me actually they started up when they built it. They built it for the colleges and the universities, but they didn't actually meant to get into the K-12 business first. But then the platform was meant for the college students, and then eventually they started with the K-12, but now I think they started with the colleges and the universities. Anyway, so the reason why I say that's kind of relevant to the conversations here, since you guys started talking about Facebook and the Moodle. So that Schoology, if you interested enough, uh, the platform, it's quite interesting to me. It's built in the way that where it looks like Facebook. Believe it or not, the what do you call it, the the way that they set up the interface, and I was asking him when he was presenting the the product to me, and I was like, hey, that looks quite like Facebook. I say, yeah, we took the ideas, and since a lot of students today or a lot of teens today are actually using Facebook more than the other learning management systems or course management systems tools, why not build something that look like Facebook interface, and then they get to like the message, they get to like the post, they get to do all that just like in the Facebook, and that will be fun. So I look at it, I was like, oh wow, that's pretty interesting. Anyway, so I thought uh the other study that I found, you can go and take it out. I didn't actually have the factual facts right now, but you surprised if you go and research, Google the facts right now. Lately, I heard that actually more and more users that using Facebook are actually the baby boomers or people in their 40s and 50s or even 60s than the actually teenagers. In fact, the teenagers are actually leaving the Facebook and using other types of social media tools. You surprised, more and more teens actually like a chat. Not chat in the mean in the chat room, but chat in the mean of like in the smartphones, like chat tools such as like Snapchat, that able to not just type in the text, but able to share different kind of videos or different kind of messages. And anyway, that's just a few examples. But those are the current things that's been evolving and what I call and been going on and in our daily life that as far as the technology goes. Also, that kind of ties back to what we're talking about here, engagement. Can we do something like that to engage the kids today? Have we even spent a little time about what's our audience or who are our audience? Are they mostly teenagers or are they include adult learners? Should we pay more attention to what kind of features and tools that we should include it into our courses instead of just putting everything in there? And maybe we should actually spend more time to think about what other forms of virtual forms of presence that we can include or modify to make it more interactive with our learning communities. All right, so I look back to a few posts right here. So Joshua, you said they have a lot of questions about homework in my class, but don't ask most of them in the forums, but ask each other directly by text instead. True. Facebook for high school kids is dead. Snapchat and kids are kings in the US. Yeah, in fact, I mean, I don't use that much, honestly, but surprisingly, well, I'm not a teen, so I'm trying to understand why. Anyway, Vinny, but in many schools ban Facebook, which makes focus interaction difficult. Yeah, indeed, that's true. Part of it, I mean, actually, they're more. I don't want to say lenient, but Facebook comes out with more different features or ways of create your private what do you call private room or private page or private group of the things where it will protect your students' privacies or your contents. Where I think most of it in the past, where a lot of people resist, or many schools that resist to use the Facebook is mainly because of the FERPA policy. I mean, the FERPA policy kind of trying to protect students, personal informations from, distribute to the public. But today I see that they make a lot of changes to adhere with the to meet the what do you call the requirements of as far as the FERPA goes, to make sure that everyone gets their privacies when they post something related to the schoolwork or something. Anyway, let's move on to the next slide. Good discussion. Very good discussions. Thank you very much to all of you. I like that. Please continue. So now there's questions. Who was earlier? They're asking me about how to measure the student engagement. So here I'm talking about how to measure the student engagement. So we can, when it comes to the measurement of the student engagement, that's a pretty challenging part because let me ask the first questions, then I'm going to pose another questions or pose another discussions. Can we measure students' online engagement simply based on the frequency and time frame of a specific course? Just because a student click and stay on an online course activity such as video lessons or discussion forum post, does that mean he or she engaged with the course materials? Just because I, as a student, go into your course and click on that 5 minutes YouTube video that you asked me to watch, does that mean that I actually finished and understood the whole entire 5-minute video? What if I actually left my computer once I started that video and go and grab a donuts and a cup of coffee, and I come back, the 5 minutes already done, and it shows that in the back end side of the Moodle administrative or reports saying that, oh, this student actually clicked on that video and finish it. But does he actually knows that I watch and understand? So does that mean engagement? That I engage with the video? Not necessarily. What do you think? I mean, how do you measure that? How do we measure that? I mean, it's hard. So how many of us walk away from these sessions to get a stack? Joshua, I like that. Yeah, that's what exactly I'm talking about. And the for managed solution Google Plus, and together with Google Apps for Education, offers a lot of control and flexibility. Cool. I haven't really I have a Google Plus account, but I actually haven't really engaged that much with that tool yet. I'll spend some times when I have some spare time to actually look at it more. Celine, students are often multitasking, so we don't know what they really did and how much time they spend on the lessons. Very true, Celine. I like that. Especially with the younger generations today, or the teenagers today, they are very multitasking. And when they are looking at the text while walking or while listening to your lessons, does that really mean that they don't understand or they're not listening? Not necessarily. You surprise a lot of youngsters or today, they are able to actually multitasking pretty well. Just because they are looking at something on their smartphones while listening to your lecture doesn't really mean that they are distracted or something. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to draw a line with the students today because I'm a multitasking person myself, but not as multitasking as the younger generations today. But I totally agree with that, because I do see you're gonna understand. We all learn differently. Some people, for example, they can't study something without the music at the background. Some people prefer to study at nighttime or past midnight. Some people absorb more in the morning, so they go to bed early and then they wake up early to study. So we all different, and that's why it makes us unique. That's why I was talking about, it really depends. We have a very diverse group of learners today. Do we not wanted to offer different kind of options for them to learn and understand the content that we provided? So, Joshua, you say, I hate the Google Class activity stream style. I can't reuse or structure things for them. Multitasking usually means that you are doing works on each task that you are doing at the same time. Cool, I like that. And marry friends, and it's not how long to stay on the training, is their ability to take what they learn and make it count. I like that. So there was one question here. Or should an online instructor provide a variety of options to access and learn similar information in order to meet the needs of diverse group of learners? I already talked about that because we have such a diverse group of learners today. We do have to provide a different or a variety of the resources to meet the needs of a different type of students. So you don't know. I mean, unless we have a what do you call actual studies and the facts that talks about more about the multitasking area, then we can. I don't have that data today, but I will actually further research on that multitasking in an online learning environment. So let's move on to the next slides. What the scholars say about the student engagement. The first scholars say the core components of the active learning are student activity and engagement in the learning process. This is from Prince in 2004. And another scholar said it could be expected that students who are actively engaged in their learning management system hosted courses would visit the learning management systems more often, more frequently, and for a longer period of time than students who are less engaged. What do you think? You agree with these two scholars say? If you're not agree or disagree, I mean, voice out to the public chat room. I mean, I would like to hear from you. Andy, you said catering for different learning level styles is what Moodle can do very well, providing the content is good enough. True. Because Moodle, it just gives you that flexibility to kind of adjust and modify the content or the features or the what do you call the functionality that to fit with different types or different groups of students. I agree with that, Andy. So let's move on to the next slide if you don't have any questions. But before I move on, Andy, you have more to say. If you substitute library for a learning management system in the second quote, it could come out of the 60s. I like that. Let's see. Visit the library more frequently. That's interesting. Thank you, Andy. Challenges. So what are the challenges? When we talk about student engagement in an online learning environment, Amanda Narch, it's actually a she stated that assessing engagement it is not openly visible and rests primarily within internal student characteristics. I think we talked a little bit about that earlier, and then engagement encompasses a wide range of academic correlates, including personality, affective, motivational, and persistence factors. Driven by students' willingness, need, desire, and compulsion to participate in and be successful in the learning process. So these are the challenges, we ultimately, it's really up to the students or the learner themselves, whether or not they're willing to take in or to participate in. We can do as much as we can as an instructor, as an administrator, to help to improve the systems, to help to improve the course. But if the learner itself or learner themselves do not take the initiative to learn or to succeed, we can only do so much. So let's see. Before I move on to the next slide, let me finish Joshua's your response to Andy. Teaching to a student's a preferred learning style doesn't increase a student's performance. Michael Durant's presentations on myths in Moodle covers this well. I'll go back and take a look at that Michael's presentations. I haven't really had the chance to actually watch that. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate it. Indicators of the engagement. So how do we indicate the engagement? There are various ways. I just wanted to point out three of them. Of course, it's just not merely three. There are more than three. So, but the primary three, I think that's very important. So asynchronous discussions, even till today, even though somehow, I mean, personally, sometimes when I look at that, I mean, because I created a lot of courses myself and also teach sometimes. And I sometimes asking myself why discussion forums still so critical to all the online courses today. Just like here, it says, it asks relevant questions that contributed to a rather meaningful. It actually give the learners that kind of space to interact with each others with the questions. of course, with the meaningful questions, and then of course, and then from there, I always like to say, instructors in a discussion forum, you are not really a teacher in there in that discussions. You're more of the monitor that help to steal up that meaningful discussions. You don't necessarily need to go in every single seconds to answer every single questions, but it's more important for that peer-to-peer interactions, for your students to learn from each other, to research the resources, and then gather together and then answer that questions, answer that meaningful questions that you ask in that discussions, and you surprise a meaningful discussions. The most meaningful discussions are actually created by the students, not so much of course, I mean, the meaningful questions created by the instructors to open up that meaningful discussions. That's all. Comes together. So discussion, asynchronous discussion, still a very good form of interactions to increase that student engagement in an online learning environment. Assignment activity. A student prepares multiple drafts of an assignment prior to submissions. Of course, we're still going to have assignments activity to test our students, to test to indicate whether or not they engage with the course materials at the end of the day. And course involvement. Student contacts you with course-related questions that extended the meaning of the required course materials. Yes, I mean that's we talked a little bit about earlier. The video or the course resources, all that. To indicate whether or not the students are engaged with the course materials, things like that. So, Paul, I'd say a good point that there is an internal student component. Trying to measure that is difficult, but it is very important. So, I think I need to refresh my browser right now because. I'm sorry, I'm back. I got kicked out of the room. All right. So thank you, Vinny. So let's move on to the next slide. Let's see. Now I have trouble with my slide. Anyway, let's ponder those questions earlier while I'm actually trying to figure out these problems here because I seems to have the. Okay, right now it's back. Okay, so let's move on. So this is the third questions I was asking in my forum yesterday. I didn't get a chance to ask in the class yesterday or in the session yesterday. Please help me with that. So what are the strengths and weaknesses of presently available synchronous virtual learning platforms, and what could be done to reduce the weaknesses? So what do you think? So here, primarily, we're talking about Moodle. But if you have any other learning management systems that you are using that you would like to talk about, that's fine too. But let's focus on Moodle for these questions. What are the strengths and weaknesses of the presently available synchronous virtual learning platforms, and what could be done to reduce the weaknesses? So, Mary, you said limited bandwidth. I agree with that. Yeah, that's quite common. I mean, to I guess to most. Unfortunately, you might already notice that my experience working in the what do you call online programs for the college is a lot of time. We're talking about not just the teenagers or the younger generations, even I'm talking about all generations, whoever using what do you call it, the digital devices today, uh, especially the youngsters I know, but but some of them adult learners too, but they tend to use a lot of or relying a lot of their smartphones and the tablets. So when it comes to the synchronous sessions or virtual learning platforms, they have a uh, they like to what do you call, they like to assume that they can use everything on their smartphones or they can use everything on their tablets by using the Wi-Fi. But unfortunately, when it comes to a class, especially like live sessions like that, I mean, you need to have, like right now, I mean, before we even presented, we were encouraged or say we were actually being told to actually use the cable for our computers to ensure the stability of the connections. Otherwise, it would be breaking up or being kicked out of the room very constant. So those are the weaknesses that we often find in the online learning environments, especially in the synchronous virtual learning platform. So Andy, you say two strengths are the workshop and audio submissions with the poodle. Okay. So all right, continue to ponder about the questions for me, please. If you have any thoughts that come out later, please feel free to share with me. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Strategies. So what are the strategies? I'm sure many of you already use these strategies in your classes before if you are instructors. So pose welcome to the course announcements that is enthusiastic and motivating. You surprise not still, even though that's very common, and we try to encourage most of the instructors to do that, but some of them still not doing a very good jobs on that, or some of them not really willing to do that. Anyway, but today we see actually more instructors actually posted some more interacting audio file, welcome message to their announcement, and also a video welcome message too. That's very common today. But ultimately, I think your students, your online students, do wanted to hear from you, whether or not it's by face, by pictures, or by a voice, or by a video. Uh, they wanted to know your presence. They want to feel your presence in an online learning environment. So you want it to be first whenever possible. You got to set the tone. You got to set the tone for your students. You don't wait till your students to set the tones, right? So that's very important too. Then respond to all student queries, etc. within 24 hours. Yesterday, there's somebody asking me, what about during the weekend? That was a very good question. Do you want to respond to your students even during, within the weekend during 24 hours? We're humans, I think. I'm not. I think. I mean, we are humans. I mean, I think we all sometimes have to set aside some time to what do you call, to have some break over the weekend. If you're not teaching, if you're not supposed to teach over the weekend, you don't necessarily have to respond them back within 24 hours unless it's urgent matters that needed to be respond immediately. And from my experience, most of the time over the weekend when there's any urgent matters, usually is technical, what do you call, technical failures or technical issues that it's not within our control as an instructor. So those are the questions that students sometimes don't know who to reach out to, and they just simply email to the instructor. But then in this case, if you happen to see the email and for example, he or she is taking an exam that you set up, but usually we encourage the instructors not to set any quizzes or exams over the weekends. But you surprised that they're still. I mean, I'm a student myself, PhD student myself. Sometimes, most of the times, they set some tests or quizzes over the weekends because a lot of the PhD classes are adult learners. They work during the week, so I mean that kind of works. But when it comes to that kind of technical questions or technical failures over the weekends, then I think the best you can do is sometimes, if you see the message or you see the email, you think that it's urgent enough, just direct it to the right party or direct to the technical team and have them actually work with the students immediately. If not, usually I would suggest that, if you don't want it to work over the weekends because it's not your work routine that you're supposed to work over the weekends, then you should state it in the syllabus to make sure that your students understand that you will reply them or respond to them within 24 hours from Monday to Friday during the workdays. And then over the weekends, they don't expect your response back till the very early morning the following Monday, or up to you. I mean, or whatever time that you want to tell them on the following Monday that you respond back. That's really up to the instructor itself. And then be certain all assignment feedback is detailed and possible in tone. Respond to all and nearly all students' discussion postings. Have ready a frequently asked questions link at the beginning of your course. FAQ, that's very important. And provide the provide the what do you call it, the rich resources for students to also sometimes self-taught themselves with some of the basic questions they might have. Let's see. Activities, that's very important too. Establish and populate extra resources. I just talked about sections in your course. Have students search for useful and fun websites for the class. They like to Google. I mean, most of us do. And most of us like to kind of browsing around on the computer. So sometimes, especially the students, they like to do that. So that will kind of help them, and include some games. I mean, meaningful games that it's relevant to the course. Well, not just any games, but if you can find a fun games that it's relevant, then feel free to do so. So different activities, to increase and to improve the student engagement. That will be very helpful. So I have another 5 minutes left, I believe. So let's leave it for questions. And so any questions, please raise your hand. I mean, if you want to speak on the microphone, I love to hear your voice. If not, feel free to type into the public chat rooms. I really, really wanted to hear from you. And I did post the same questions in my forum if you want to go back. And please help me to post any questions about my sessions, and give me some feedback if you can. I actually have a feedback form in my forum or in my sessions in the iMoot. And I also post 10 questions quiz, not quiz, but more of the survey that relevant to the student engagement. If you can help me too, that would be really grateful. I hope these sessions somehow help me. I mean, it helped me. I can tell you that, but I appreciate a lot of your response during the sessions. That's why I'm here, and as a e-learning coordinator for the college, as a PhD student myself, and as an administrator of the Moodle. So I look at things in different ways and different angles. So sometimes my my point of view might be different than most of the people view as a teacher or as an instructor. So feel free to tell me what do you think about my presentations, and if you have any questions, so feel free to email me privately. I would love to hear from you. I would love to keep in touch with all of you, honestly, if you could. I mean, if I happen to visit your city, I would love to have a cup of coffee with you and sit down and chit chat. And if you want to invite me over, please, I mean, stay in touch. Yes, of course, a tea or anything. Oh, I like that. If somebody can help me, I mean, to copy the chat into my forum again. Tabitha, you helped me yesterday. I really appreciate it. And then copy into my forum, and I would like to go back. Sometimes when you present, you don't actually. Oh, okay. Thank you, Mary. Right click. Okay. So. Yeah, if you please just help me to continue to stay in touch with each others and help me with my research. I'll be really grateful, and I hope to hear more from all of you. And any questions, please, please post it there. And yeah, I am writing down all your emails and make sure that I have your emails, that we can actually we can probably create a group, socialize in some space virtually, and continue our conversations if somebody wants to do that. Oh, I think it was the other Tabitha. It's not the name you often see multiple times. Oops, I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I didn't notice that. The iMoot site will remain open. That's good to know, Vinny. I like that. So we can always go back and retrieve the informations. That's what I want to hear, actually. I think my time is up. But feel free to ask me any questions continuously. I will continue to stay here if you wanted to stay. But if not, then I'll leave it to Vinny right now.
Hi, Jonathan. This seems an ideal opportunity for me just to jump in and say thank you ever so much for giving up your time and presenting again the second session at the iMoot. Lots and lots of things for everybody to think about, and yeah, I don't want to stop the conversation. So if people do have questions, then please pop them into the chat or follow up on the course page that goes along with this discussion. There's a few other activities on there as well, feedback, etc., discussion forum. So please get involved, and thank you once again, Jonathan.
Yeah, Vinny, before you go, make sure you remember I'm going back most probably this year. I'm gonna try to contact you when I'm in Malaysia. Okay, so stay in touch. Everybody else the same. I mean, if ever you visit my city or I visit your city, please let me know. I mean, we can always have a cup of coffee or tea. Okay. Yeah. Any questions? Andy, Celine, Joshua, Richard, Tabitha? I mean, I'm guessing that you guys have some other sessions that you want to go to, or anyway. If not, please stay in touch. Okay, I really appreciate all your attendance here and the participations. Oh yeah, Richard, you're presenting shortly. Thank you. I mean, I know you need to go and prepare. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. Thank you, Vinny.